I want to try and have a bit more of a positive spin on my videos, even in this bad situation. It's funny. I don't know why I do it, but I like talk, even in my previous videos, in a very like a monotone and like depressed tone. But inside my head, I'm like one of the most optimistic people I know with like a ton of ideas. I guess that's why I'm always hoping and wondering what the future has in store for us, which is also kind of part and why I like do these like video essays. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to do the same thing again this video. Every time I try and stay positive, every time I take, there's just somebody there ready to ruin my mood. I went down to the job center recently. While I was down there, I spoke to one of the advisors, this Indian dude, and everything he was asking was with a condescending tone. Like, he was asking, so what have you been doing? Did you apply for any jobs? Can you tell me what you did last week? Like, it may sound innocent, maybe I didn't portray it well, but I could hear it, I felt it, and I know there are people out there that take advantage of the system, but he could have checked my case file. I lost my job just a couple months ago, and every time I answered, he just cut me off. He just asked the same shit in a different phrase. And after asking his questions, even though I answered all of them, he just told me the next time I went in, I would have to do some like job application training, like a course on how to interview. He didn't ask how my interviews went. He doesn't know any of the reasons of why I've been rejected. Just tells me the next time I come in, I got to do a course. So I asked him like, how long is this course? And he goes, 10 minutes, just like this one. So what's the fucking difference? He said, well, they're going to check your emails to see your job applications and teach you how to interview. Basically, waste more time than necessary and breach my privacy. Just to remind you, this is just JSA based on income tax I've already paid from my previous positions. The piss take doesn't even end there though. My 5+ years of working and paying income tax only equates to 6 months on JSA at £92 a week. How the fuck does that make sense? It's based on my contribution, but I don't even get support for a year after 5 years of tax contributions. So I asked this guy, what happens after October when my JSA is due to end? And he said, universal credit. I told him I already tried to apply for universal credit, but because I'm living with my partner and she's a high earner, I would get nothing. And he just kept saying, I don't know, self-assess, I can't help. All of this in a way that he just wants to detach himself from the situation, like no duty of care, and constantly speaking down to me like it was my fault I don't have a job. And all of this in a public room with other people talking with their advisors about their stuff. And if any of you guys have ever been, you guys know it's just one table, 2 people each side with just a little cardboard divider in between of you. And then obviously an open space plan so that you can hear people on the other side of the room as well. So 100% the rest of the room heard what we were talking about because even the security was starting to stare at me when I got up. The conversation ended with me saying I'm not going to get shit because my partner earns a lot, him dismissing it, and me saying, you know, we used to earn a lot, but I'm only here because I was made redundant. I'd lie a bit. I wasn't made redundant, I was fired, but the way I was fired was unfair, so I don't really give a shit. Only after I said we used to make money did he tone his ass down. But it was embarrassing taking this verbal beating from a dipshit civil servant that has absolutely no idea how bad the job market is right now. I'm just curious, with the unemployment rate so high, what did they expect this job center visit to actually do? Do they really believe that 1.7 million people are just sitting around purposely not trying to work? Like, did their rent just pause while they look for another job? What is the point in these visits fucking taking place? I've lived in a few boroughs and all of them are the same. It feels like they don't actually understand the difficulty it is to find a job. They're just put there to annoy and be a nuisance. The tips and advice that they give are like fry cook level. The questions that they ask are archaic. They always ask, what are the ways you have applied for a job? And I shit you not, they have asked me, have you applied for a job using a newspaper? And have you handed your CV into shops? I was like, I work in finance. What shop would I hand my CV into? Literally, they don't give a fuck about where you work, just to make you a statistic that they can show off as a positive.
Released on Tuesday morning, in May, the number of employees on payroll tumbled by more than 100,000, the steepest decline in at least a decade, excluding the pandemic, and way worse than the 20,000 or so forecast by analysts. This is pretty terrible news for Chancellor Rachel Reeves, and the UK economy has now lost a total of 276,000 jobs since Reeves' first budget in October. ONS survey data, released at the same time, found that, presumably as a consequence of this contraction, there are now roughly 1.7 million people out of work, which takes the UK's overall unemployment rate up to 4.6%, its highest level since 2017, excluding the pandemic. This might not sound bad, but in lots of ways the official unemployment rate understates the real scale of joblessness in the UK. This is because the official unemployment data only counts those people who are looking for, but failing to find, work, and thus ignores the millions more people who are economically inactive. In other words, who are not looking for work. In any country, there are always going to be some people who are economically inactive, simply by virtue of their age, i.e. pensioners and children. However, the UK has seen a remarkably steep increase in the number of working-age adults claiming to be economically inactive, largely because more people are claiming sickness benefits, meaning they're claiming to be too ill to work.
I don't believe they're too ill to work. I'm pretty sure most of them just have a bad back from carrying their worthless teams. But I don't think anybody coming from a particular field should be taking these people's advice, honestly. Think about the damage you would be doing to your career. I find it hard as it is doing contractual roles. Now imagine how hard it would be to explain the 3 months in Primark and the 6 months in McDonald's. It's career suicide. Whatever your field is, you need to stay in it. Sure, you can work the odd jobs here and there, but it does nothing for your CV. It makes it harder to explain the employment gap if you end up staying in a low-level job for an extended period of time. The reality is you're just going to have to firm it. Keep applying for the roles you're supposed to be doing. If you have connects, use them. Get the cash on the side if you can, but as soon as you get what you need, fuck them and leave. So it's just going to be a short one. I just wanted to post again, try and motivate and keep the spirits up. Also, how do you guys feel about the shorter video content? I'm thinking I'm going to keep it as shorter video essays. It's easier to digest, it's easier to edit, so it's happy on both sides. But I'll be going over some actually annoying and scary shit that happened in my life in the next video. So like, subscribe, and watch out for the next video. Just a hint, it has something to do with the police. Anyway, bye. There we go.